We are less than 2 weeks away from the release of what I believe to be the second biggest game of the year, and as you can probably tell from the title of the video, I am excited, really excited about Monster Hunter Wilds and all this game has to offer for several reasons. It is definitely a game that has been a hard wait for a lot of gamers who can't wait to get their hands on this game, but it's also been a game that has attracted a lot of new players that are intrigued by all the marketing and social media attention that the game has received of late. More than that though, this game isn't just about the next release in the Monster Hunter series, but for many it's a shift back to the focus around the gaming community to being just about gaming. There are no social agendas surrounding this game, no mainstream media hit pieces out to subvert gamers' initial opinion about the game, no DEI discourse or hate farming content aligned with it. No, for the first time in what seems to be a while, Monster Hunter Wilds will deliver you exactly what you hope for. A game. So whether you're new to the Monster Hunter series franchise or a seasoned player or somewhere in between, here are 5 reasons why you should be excited for Monster Hunter Wilds. I want to start by talking about the team behind this game, which revolves around 3 people. Firstly, Yuya Tokuda, who is the main director of the game, Kaname Fujioka, the art and executive director, and finally Ryozo Sugimoto, apologies for butchering your names, the producer of the game. These guys have heavily been involved in the making of Monster Hunter games for more than a decade now, and before joining the team also contributed to the making of several fan favorites such as Devil May Cry and Street Fighter. Together, they made Capcom's most successful game in Monster Hunter World, which by many is considered to be the best game in the series to date. Their creative thinking and decisive decisions in the implementation of many of the new concepts that we saw in Monster Hunter Worlds was the reason why it became a success. It was the reason why it became such a household name that had the potential to deliver on a large scale basis in comparison to other mainstream games. If we look at it from 2 perspectives, firstly from Capcom's point of view, as a company who's all about making great products but more importantly making more money, you're entrusting a team who has already delivered when it comes to profit making and knowing how to get the job done to make another profitable game. So it's a no-brainer there. And from the customer's point of view, i.e. us the gamers, we're dealing with a team that can not only ensure us a great game as well as a great experience, but has been shown to make games with gamers' perspective in mind. This is why gamers in general are excited about this game, because they trust a team that has shown consistently their ability to deliver a great game and therefore are more willing to buy their products. This is why Monster Hunter Wilds is still #1 on Steam pre-order chart sales, because they trust that team to deliver them a great experience for the price they've paid. Recently, it feels like we've been inundated with so many games from these game companies that focus on everything but actual gameplay. And it's refreshing when you realize that this team simply want to provide you with a game, nothing more, nothing less, just a game that you can just enjoy and play. We all know how important world creation is to any game, and that setting the right tone and building assets can help make or break the immersion experience for any gamer, either making them want to get lost in the world that the devs created and do all the content that's available to them, or making players wonder who exactly the world was created for and why the world feels so empty and lifeless. As Monster Hunter Wilds draws closer to release, all indications have been that the game's world and ecosystem behind it have been at the forefront of the developer's mind, with Yuya even stating that the main reason for him joining the development team was not just because of the monsters, but how they interacted with the world around them, with a noticeable factor being in Wilds that you can simply engage with monsters in their environment to start their respective quests, and no longer have to go to notice boards before you begin their missions. This allows you the freedom to prep for several missions at a go by stocking up on supplies and preparing all the gear you need while never having to leave the instance you're in. The game does look stunning visually, and what separates it from the former entries of this series is the adaptive weather and time change, which is a new game mechanic in the game that can definitely be felt when facing against some of the monsters in the game, as it brings the battle to life while maintaining the intensity of the fight. The map also is reported to be double the size of that of Worlds, but what's more important is the fact that players will be able to travel around the world with seamless transition, meaning no loading screens at all while traveling between different locations on the map, as the developers are trying to achieve that real open world experience, unlike some other games.
40 hours in this game, and 35 of those 40 hours are load screens. Walking out of a building, load screen. Opening this door, load screen. Going into my ship, load screen. Sitting down, load screen. Walking forward, load screen. I gotta go pee, load screen. Dude, I can't play with all these, load screen.
But what makes this design choice even more appealing is that the game will be cross-played for the first time in the series, which is so needed. Players will no longer need to worry about what system their friends have and be able to explore the world together and enjoy the content in the same instant. And even though for me, I am more of a single player gamer myself and I prefer to play by myself, I'm not really always up for multiplayer sessions with different gamers, I do understand the interactions that they bring and how it can make the world feel immersed. It can make the world feel real, and therefore it's something which players want. Players want to enjoy playing with their friends. They want to enjoy making sure that, okay, my friend who's on a different system is able to play with me because I don't have to worry about him being on an Xbox or me being on a PlayStation. We can both play this well together. If the devs really pull off what they're planning to do, we are hopefully looking at an open world game done right, showing off the core interaction between players and monsters that will bring out what makes the Monster Hunter series so special to so many gamers. Most games are remembered by their characters. In fact, what appeals to most gamers when playing video games is the ability to see yourself in that character that you're playing and doing the things that you couldn't do in the real world, or rather you wish to do. The desire to explore a game through the eyes of a character you wish you could be is for most games the draw that gets gamers to play them. Monster Hunter isn't one of those games. The appeal of their character, though present, isn't the reason or even one of the main reasons why people play Monster Hunter games. It's always been about the monsters, the weapons, the gear, with combat taking a lead role in what has made many gamers want to experience all that Monster Hunter has to offer. But this time, developers have decided to place character development in the forefront of the game and allow players to experience a different narrative than in previous releases. The introduction of several named characters, not just their roles as it was in World and Rise, have seen players react in a very positive way to most of the initial NPCs. Some better than others.
Yeah, boy.
And I think it's a bold step from the developers, who are obviously trying to make the game more appealing to a wider audience, because the core fans, they already know what they're getting themselves into, but for new players, they get to feel excited about experiencing the Monster Hunter universe through the eyes of these characters. Not much is known about the story behind the game, other than the fact that you're a hunter sent on a mission to investigate the missing expedition team, as well as a mysterious monster called the White Wraith, a powerful creature that wiped out a village of a people called the Keepers, with the sole survivor being a young boy called Natar that you're assigned to protect at the start of your mission. And let's be honest, it already has a better story than half the games that have been released recently.
He's out of line, but he's right.
If character development and story narratives are foreign to Monster Hunter games, the one thing we know for sure is that monsters are the focus. Monster Hunter Wilds continues, like all the other games in the series, to showcase a plethora of huge monsters to fight, with returning monsters like Rathalos and Gongalala making an appearance, while new monsters like Raid Dal and Arkvale make their debut to the series, both of which made an appearance in the beta version of the game, both of which also made me sweat to beat them. Especially Arkvale, I mean, like, seriously. The series revolved around all these iconic monsters, and Wilds is set to have the biggest roster of any of the games so far to date. Monster Hunter Wilds will be introducing two distinct game mechanics to the hunt against these monsters. The first being called Focus Mode, which will allow players to carefully aim where their attacks land, as well as help you guard from monsters' attacks. While the second, Focus Strike, hits for massive damage when hitting weak spots, adding strategical depth to these battles. Hitting the wounds though does close up the wound itself, but allows you to stun the monster in return for a brief moment. And what makes Wild even more exciting is the way in which the monsters react to the environment around them, as well as using the environment to their advantage as the fight wears on, which makes replayability even better, because you know when you want to face these monsters again, you won't always be encountering the same scenario. Most of all, the feeling that you get when you beat one of these major bosses in Monster Hunter series games is great. It feels like you've actually accomplished something as much as you can within a video game, like Olatrain in Monster Hunter World. Still waiting on you, Asmon, bro, to finish that. For me, the most exciting thing about Monster Hunter Wilds is that we are finally going back to gaming. You know, when you look at all the discourse around the game, whether it's on YouTube comments or on Reddit or on Twitter or any other social media platform, it has nothing to do about anything else but the game. The narrative around all the games that have recently come out in the last couple of months have been so frustrating and tiresome. I mean it, look at all the games that have come out in the last couple of months that in one form or another have been linked to being DEI or woke or having some social political message being pushed, where the modern audience is at odds with gamers and vice versa. You have hate in relation to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and the scene involving same-sex relationships, or reports of a CEO being kicked off their own Reddit due to perceived discrimination of a certain sect of people. Avowed, which is set to come out before Wilds, is already mired in disgusting remarks by their games director about how there are too many crusty white men in the industry that need to be replaced by black guys.
Stop it. Get some help.
It feels like we've hit the reset button on the gaming timeline, which starts at the launch of Monster Hunter Wilds and hopefully continues on. You know, when you look at this game and its team, There's no apprehension as to what they're trying to deliver you. You know what you're getting, a box standard game and nothing more. I'm excited for this game and I can't wait to spend hours and hours playing on it, and I do hope somehow I've sparked some excitement in you too. But that's all for me. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe. I do have a Patreon if you're looking to support me on my journey. And until next time, stay blessed. Peace.